long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Here they come!
Star Wars.
Coming in too fast!
An adventure unlike anything on your planet. It's an epic of heroes and villains and aliens from 1,000 worlds. Star Wars, rated PG.
Now playing. Check newspapers for a theater near you.
Here's the new Star Wars Death Star space station that you put together. Action figures each sold separately.
Darth Vader's firing a laser cannon. It's been hit. He's afterload. Take the elevator. Hurry. Now cross the light bridge. You won't escape me. Jump, Luke. Oh, no. The trash compactor. There's a trash monster. The wall's closing. Save.
Kenner's new Star Wars Death Star space station.
We can neither confirm
Action
or deny
figures
that
each
is
sold
very
separately.
consoling playing the small child in that screen.
Star Wars figures. R2-D2. Chewbacca, Luke, and Princess Leia. They're the Star Wars Early Bird set of figures. These action figures are not yet available, but this Star Wars Early Bird certificate package is in stores with this colorful Star Wars picture display stand and certificate to send in to get a set of figures by mail. They'll be sent to you at home between February 1st and June 1st. The Star Wars Early Bird certificate package, new from Kenner.
Happy Star Wars Day to all of you. I hope you are all well. And just for you at home, 9 seconds of the Star Wars music is the limit. Don't go over that. That's where the copyright strike is. I have a video on my channel for you members to know. I've learned the hard way the powers of the Force. Gentlemen, I am so excited for this day and happy that you are all here. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to all of you in chat and all of you just out there coming and hanging out with us throughout the day. We will have content all day long and all sorts of different channels and that kind of thing. So, but first, let me say hello to this wonderful panel. Let me start here. AC, Angry Canadian, my friend, I am blown away at what you're doing. This marathon gaming that you're doing. You've helped me with thumbnails in the past. You're always a big supporter of the Lego content of your channel, brother. Thank you for so much hanging out with me, man.
Yeah, man, it's all because of you. My kind of like dormant love for Star Wars has been reawoken, and
Wow.
I wanted to do a big thing this year. We're not going to do a Lego marathon. We're going to do a gaming marathon. Maybe next year we'll do a Lego marathon, but this year gaming marathon. And last year was a lot of fun, dude, working for you, behind the scenes, doing those thumbnails and
Yeah.
chatting Star Wars with you was a lot of fun. And so I've had a lot of fun already getting ready for this stream.
I'm so proud and it warms my heart. So I told you it warms my heart because that's what I want. I want a day like today to actually honor the birth of something, which is what we do in every other thing. It's like on the 25th, it's the 47th anniversary. Let's talk positive things. We don't have today is not. I will try my very best. And yes, there it is, the OG poster, the OG imaging, and Eric rocking the Star Wars veteran shirt. It's how we do it, man. It's how we do it. So JINJA Ninja, again, back this year. Again, my friend, I'm so excited that you're doing it again. I appreciate you being here, man.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Always a pleasure to be on here and to talk with the legendary Pops and up here with Sully and AC. It's just, to do a little preparation for this. I went back and watched the Empire Strikes Back, mainly the scene where they have the old standoff, the fight, the lightsaber fight. And,
Okay.
Cold chills, like goosebumps. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I can still go back and watch those scenes and completely feel like it's watching them for the first time. Definitely love it.
Well, man, I tell you, he is a comic book aficionado. He is the Reverend Sully. He is the dude that brings me so much happiness and joy with his food and his bunnies.
Wow.
Reverend Sully is in the house. Brother, thank you so much for hanging with us, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me on this wonderful, beautiful, blessed, and glorious Star Wars Day. I am free spiritually. I am no longer mad at Disney Star Wars. Because you cannot break canon because it's closed. Disney canon's elsewhere. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hug that. And I'm going to just be like, I'm going to enjoy our old stuff. And just, that's it. And I'm like, this is the best Star Wars Day I've had in like forever.
Well, I hope it's a good one. And I hope that you guys all out there, like there'll be a playlist I will go back and try to keep adding all the links for Pacific 414 stream. DJ Ronnie G's got stuff going on. Of course, we mentioned AC's gaming stream. Also, the 2023 playlist is there for the stuff we talked about last year. Because AC, we talked before the show. I did try to find people and topics that maybe we hadn't. I didn't want to be, like repetitious. So I tried to find a couple of things that might be a little bit different. And you're balancing schedules, things like that. Because there's so much we can talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, based off this last year, just meeting a lot of new content creators, there's a lot of people out there that you still can like interact with and have these one-on-one interviews and talk about different aspects of Star Wars. And so I'm looking forward to whatever you've created that's on the schedule here for today. It's going to be exciting to see what new experiences and new memories that everyone gets to hear from them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's say hello to this wonderful chat. They are amazing. And right off the top of the bat, an amazing dude. I hope he can join us for the midday. My midday stream is at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So maybe, that at some point we'll try to open that door for folks to come by, say hi. Nerdporeal Life Form, man. He's the GOAT. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, he's blaming AC for bullying him. Hey, listen, I get it. It's okay. It's okay. You gotta do what you gotta do. Snortapoopus is here. All right, brother. Awesome to see you, my friend. Great. Gap is here. Awesome, man. Great to see you. Oh, man. Talk about a dude that I'd love to take the camera around for show and tell. Gap has like the warehouse. Like there's so much. This great Sully guy. He's saying hey to everybody. So is AC. May the force be with you and also with you. Yes, it's great.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Back when the force, back when the force was mysterious and religious. Yeah, not a blood pathogen. Yeah, yeah.
Speaking as a polar bear, would force-rich blood of midichlorians be tastier than normal people's Snortapoopus?
Yeah, are we tougher and chewier if we have a higher midichlorian count? Yeah.
Midichlorians tastier in the blood there, oh bear.
Stark of Iron is here. Hail to you, my friend. I spy thee, Pops, a JINJA, a Reverend Chef, and no one else. Oh, I see what's happening. See, you just can never get a break, AC. You just never get a break.
The bowling never stops.
Lester is here. Hey, man, awesome to see you, man. The real made. He had the real Star Wars Day to some. I kind of dropped the real part. I did that maybe the first year, the 2022 thing, because I don't want to throw a bunch of shade at May 4th and Revenge of the 5th. And I have merch. I was as much into it, and there are good things. You know what I mean? If there's 100 things that they do, I'm sure we can find 5 things that we actually like. I have stuff in the room that's from the newer era and things like that too.
I call it Orthodox Star Wars Day.
Baron used the same term when we interviewed him and stuff like that. So let's first start with AC. You're our young member. So for folks that don't know your story, talk a little bit about that first Star Wars experience. What kind of broke AC's mind?
Well, for me, this is going to relate to my gaming stream. My very first Star Wars experience, I was thinking about it recently, was a game known as Star Wars Pod Racer, which basically took the pod racing from the first Phantom Menace and they put it into like its own video game. And I remember getting it at the time as a kid, and it had Star Wars on it. My dad's like trying to sell me on this Star Wars. I had no idea what it was. I was way too young. But I remember playing the game. I was like, whoa, what is this like weird like alien world and high speed racing? So my whole like world image of Star Wars was pod racing until I was maybe, I don't know, 10 years of age. And I finally got to see Star Wars or Episode 4. I had we rented the DVD from the library, and that was pretty interesting because I had no idea what it was. It was just like on the shelf. It looked interesting. I rented it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch it. I didn't fully grasp it at the time, and it's just one of those movies where over the years, it's like every time I rewatch it, it gets better and better and better, and I have a deeper appreciation for like the cinematography with it, the storytelling, the different characters and how deep they are. And so from then on, I just, I grew into Star Wars. And then when I became a teenager, 2 of my church friends were really big into Legos and Star Wars. And so they introduced me to both even more. And then from there, the rest is history. I've sunk in so much money into Lego Star Wars now. And I'm still buying stuff. And that's why I have an allowance. So I have to limit on what I can spend. But yeah, that's basically my Star Wars journey.
And it's probably best that you don't live near me and my son, since he's like the uber like AC is like my son in Japan. It's just they're exactly the same. All this renewed love of Legos and Star Wars and troop. Oh yeah, it's just incredible. And I'm so with you, AC, about appreciating something new, because this year for me, I know it's uber nerdy to say it this way, but it was the musical cues. The musical cues in scenes and transitions. It was just I was so amused. And then immediately when I finished watching my watch for this week, basically, Joker Voice had contacted me about doing a John Williams show. So I think we're going to try to fit that in between now and kind of like the beginning of July, because July 2nd is Talk Hard Jaws. So I thought about trying to get something done, maybe that we could drop that Tuesday morning, because the musical cues just really hit me this morning. So before I get to Eric and get some more of his background story, let me say thanks again to Scott Westbrook. He upgraded his membership this week. Got that alert in here. Thank you again, Scott, for all your patronage and support and all that, man. It just means the world to us, man, doing this kind of thing, that thing out there, man. It's just awesome, man. So, yeah, just lots of love back and forth in chat. Eric, you're my friend. We're similar in age. We're similar in age, so I assume you are a theatrical OG OT fan. So let's talk about that first experience for Star Wars for you, my friend.
Hi there. My name is Eric, and I am a Star Wars fan. Hey there. So yes, I am. I'll be 52 this year. So I was 4 years old when Star Wars came out. It was 1977. This day in 1977, May the 25th, and also Return of the Jedi comes out on May the 25th. A double reason for celebrating on this Orthodox day instead of May the 4th. And so between 4 and 7, that's a lot of kid years. That's a lot of childhood. That's a lot of action figures. That's a lot of seeing the movie a few times. Anticipation for Empire Strikes Back. And it was this new ground, and we were there for every step of it early on. And I had yes, thank you, Pops. You had the Death Star Station playset toy that I got as a kid. I had that. I was an only child, so I got spoiled. So I didn't have to share my toys with my siblings. So I got really over the top toys sometimes, and I had that one, and that was so fun. So
you told me privately you hunted down getting that again.
I'll show you what I got. This is this was a version of Star Wars. This is a Fisher Price, hand cranked.
Man, I forgot about those.
Look at that. Light backed. See the ambient light. You just need a good strong light source. You have an eyepiece right here, and you look into the eyepiece and you crank. It's a hand crank, and it has 8mm film in there of Star Wars. And it's about 3 minutes of of footage from Tatooine to the escape, to the Death Star battle, and to the trench. And then I would crank it back and forth to see the X-wing get, that there was wasn't that red one? Explode and then reassemble and then explode again and then reassemble and do it all over again. And this was I was a kid. I was 5 or 6. So I found this at my local comic book shop. So this is Fisher Price. This is OG, man. Yeah, and it also doubled as a Star Trek phaser. Yeah,
I'm so blown away. I've totally forgot about those, Eric. I know we as a family had one. I don't remember who had one.
They had different cassettes. The cassettes pop out. So there's cartridges. So there were other. I had the $6 Million Man one as well. So just those are they had a Planet of the Apes one. It was the 70s, so it was just all this that.
I will have to make a short out of that segment so people can see that. So AC, the one thing that represents is that first phase of Star Wars stuff, because we didn't have action figures, right? There was no merch, right? So what they would do is they retrofitted other stuff that they had and they made. So Fisher Price had those cassettes and this film concept and whatever. So they got with George, and that's how I get licensed and he gets that. So it would have been something that would have possibly, I don't know the exact release date, but I would be shocked if it doesn't come out in 77, because it was, again, the Kenner action figures is Christmas 78. This is one of those things that would have hit market during the 77, and it would be so popular because, again, we're all thirsty for anything Star Wars.
Right, right.
Yeah. Super cool, Eric. Thanks for showing that. JINJA, my friend, I know you're going to start your drawing.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're going to get through the 2 hours. We'll do as much as we can see what he does. He will be posting things on Twitter, so I will be reposting those and sharing those. If any of you see those, make sure you share that as well. Get JINJA stuff out there. JINJA, catch everybody up if they don't know your first sort of like Star Wars experience / memory.
Like, unfortunately, unlike you guys, my memory of like whenever I was a child is very, very vague. I have like little spots here and there, but the things that do stand out is like for me, we always, my brothers, every time Christmas or a birthday would come around, our grandparents would always like, "What would you like for your birthday?" And it was either GI Joe figures or Star Wars figures. And I always remember getting the Star Wars figures. We play around with them. Me and my brothers, and there's 4 of us. There were 4 brothers, and like each of us had like the characters that we liked the most. And yeah, so for me, it was just like the ones that stood out for me is I always remember playing with the Chewbacca character all the time. I don't know why. Chewbacca character, I loved it. And then uh, the Emperor's Guard, the Red Guard, the red suited Emperor Guard. Uh, I always remember seeing that and just thinking how unique that was whenever I first saw that in Return of the Jedi. It was Return of the Jedi when it made its first appearance,
correct.
right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
The Crimson Guards,
Yeah, is it called the Crimson Guard? Sorry, I'm horrible with names.
Emperor's Royal Guard.
The Emperor's Royal
Guard.
Guard.
Yeah, I
the
forget my own
Crimson
names
is
sometimes.
G.I. Joe.
But no, just the figures, and of course, when Christmas came around, we had the wrapping paper. As soon as the wrapping paper was done, the big paper, the cardboard tubes, automatically became lightsabers. You were always trying to use the Force when you were a kid. It's just like it. And another thing that it did is it introduced me to sci-fi. I think that was my first kind of introduction to sci-fi through Star Wars. And then afterwards, you're trying to find that same kind of. Ooh, look at that! That's not a lightsaber. You're trying to find the same kind of feeling that you got from when you watch Star Wars. And then so you'd see things like Flight of the Navigator, or what are some other ones out there? One I recently watched. What is the one where the guy plays the video game and he gets sucked into the video game world?
Tron.
Not Tron. No, I'm sorry, not that one. There's another one where
it's not Last Starfighter then?
Last Starfighter. There you go. Yeah, the Last Starfighter. Watched that recently again. I remember trying to find something with that same kind of energy, but nothing ever, did what Star Wars did.
I agree. It was
another universe.
Battlestar Galactica and Trek and some things like that gave me pieces of that love, but not necessarily always the same. But
right, nothing gave you the same. Yeah.
All right. So let's say to chat. Gap says, how many of us wish we still had our toys from back then?
Yes, totally here.
Yeah. This is why I'm. No, Eric's still going to town. I think this is another reason why you guys will love my conversation with Baron Orman Tag after this at 10 a.m. Eastern time, because he still has stuff from his childhood. So he was able to be inspired by his dad, who had a lot of his childhood stuff thrown away by his mom, to not have that for his kids. So Baron has stuff that has lived on. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy that story for sure. Norporio with a great 6-month member comment says, Star Wars OT is very important to me, being Nordport. Indeed. And he's spoken about that here, even on my channel, but I'm hoping that we can catch up with him at some point during the day. So yes. The Sears Wish Book had all the Star Wars stuff in it. Gap, I feel like you're setting up like a queue here for me. Yes, later today, there'll be shorts that are pulled from last year's conversation with Troy Pacelli, where we actually pulled up some Star Wars catalogs and talked about some of those ads. If you don't want to wait for that, go into that Pops chat, look up the holiday special. We had a great chat about that. And in there, we definitely pulled up those catalogs. So for sure. So let's see here. What else we got here? Did not know it was a name. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's all sorts of shenanigans in chat. Appreciate all that. And I saw Copa coming in the house. Good morning, my brother. Happy Star Wars Day to you as well, my friend. So, away for Ninja. Are you back, buddy? When he's back, I have something to show him. In the meantime, let's go back to AC. I know we don't have AC for super long. He's got to queue up the computer, dust off the old video game stuff.
Wait, so you're playing AC? You're playing Racer today?
So I'm playing a ton of games. I've got
Okay.
about a dozen. Some of them I wanted to play, but they weren't like really friendly because they're older games. They weren't really working with the modern tech stuff. So yeah, Racer's on there. I unfortunately don't have the Revenge of the Sith game because apparently that's a very famous one. Because it came out before the movie, and it had a lot of like cool stuff that was in the game but wasn't in the movie. So I wish I had that game. I'm playing some of the Lego games because I gotta show off the Legos in there. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of games, and I'll be debuting one game that I've never played before. It's a game based off of Jango Fett, and it's called Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Wow, I played the heck out of that PlayStation 2 game, man.
Yes,
That is so fun.
I've heard that. Yeah, a lot of
that's
people
right.
say it's a great game. I've somehow never been able to find it, and then my sister hooked me up. She found it at a retro shop in the U.S.
Oh,
and
cool.
mailed it to me. So I'll be playing that later today.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's got a great mode where you can use your Mandalorian headpiece to identify a target, and then you tag them, and instead of killing them, you take them in for the bounty.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you can it's fun.
Copa says Porkins sacrificed his future meal so AC could be here today. Not even a moment of silence. We need to have some more Porkins love in this Star Wars Day experience. I definitely will have to do that for next year, Copa. Decepticons here. Talk about somebody who's got some cool stuff to show off. Awesome to see you, brother. Thanks for hanging out. Happy Star Wars Day to you. All right, Decepticon's going to show off some comics. Yeah, man, do some shorts, do something on your channels, get stuff out there, guys. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, who's
That'd
got
be
like
great.
you got any old Marvel Star Wars comics lying around? There's like some of my favorite. I think I've decided as a comic book fan that's only 107 floppies, well, plus 2 annuals, and why not go for it? I got up 30 of them. I'm gonna make the commitment to get the run of Marvel
That'd
comics.
be awesome.
That would be great. Just reader copies. I don't care about the condition. I want to read them.
You let me know which ones you're missing. I have this sort of like Pops concierge service where I'll do shopping for you. Like I do it for different locations. I happen to be at a shop and he's like, you're looking for a couple things. So it's like, I just put together a box. So it's worth the $5 to ship because it's pretty expensive to ship now. It's less than $5. Yeah, start at $5, right? But I'm not going to rip you about. But it's like, yeah, I make a buck or two here and there. It pays for my stuff. So like, Loki bought all this stuff, and I'm like, cool. Then I got an extra Conan copy out of the deal because I bought his stuff for him. And it's like, I'm thrilled doing that for people. That'd be great because it's fun. I love that experience, man. So yeah, definitely if you're having trouble finding things. So that's awesome.
Will do. Thank you, man.
So
this is for James JINJA.
Go for it.
This is for you, brother. Let's take you back.
All right.
Take you back to that childhood story.
Yep.
The OG from my childhood. That's mine. That would be the
look,
exact
there it
same
is.
one
Yeah,
you
that's
would
the
have
one.
had.
Yes. That's it right there.
Yeah. There you go.
And I like his.
He's a very chunky action figure because his joints were kind of like hard to move.
Yes.
He only had 4 moving parts, but like they were like extra squeaky and extra kind of like.
Yeah, this one doesn't move very well at all.
Yeah.
I don't usually articulate that one.
Oh man, I haven't
very
seen that
tactile.
forever.
Yeah, memory right there, man.
That's so cool.
There
you go.
First guard. That's awesome.
He had a
I don't remember having that fabric on him though.
Yeah,
maybe they changed
it. More plasticky. Maybe mine was a later version of it.
Maybe they changed it. I don't know.
Yeah,
This was mine when I would have been 12, turned 13 that year. So
I might.
Yeah, I had that exact
awesome.
one too. Yeah, with
That's so cool.
the fabric cloak. Yeah.
I don't think I've shown that one off because I have a whole box of them right here. I pull them out every year for this, and that's the other thing, AC. I wanted you to speak to because I know again time constraints. I'm with you, and I love to hear Eric's thoughts going forward because I think he said it already. Is it brought us joy to do this last year? It just made us feel good about Star Wars and rewatching and talking about positive things. And yes, I'd still review a show or I'd still be honest about my take on something else. Those two things can coexist on my channel. I can put things in both sides of the scale. And I just feel like we need to spend more time on a day like today as having a great excuse to put a lot more positive things on that side of the scale to keep the world in balance, right?
Yeah, we gotta like, I just don't, I get drowned by all the negativity, and I want to see more positive things, and just like, it's not necessarily like feeding on nostalgia. It's just sharing that passion, that deep passion we have for like Star Wars, for example, and showing it to new people, finding new people that may have the same level of passion as us, and then just creating this like amazing day of just interacting. It's like having a convention online, basically. And then we get to hang out with people in the chat. You get to have people come on for panels or for these streams like this, and you have live art drawing right here. You've got show and tell, and it's basically having like a digital con
Such a great way
for people to
describe it.
share. So I think this should be done for a lot of things. You know, we talk about behind the scenes, not just Star Wars, but like other big franchises, I guess, if you so will. So
Yeah,
it's a great format. We have the tools here.
See that. I'd love to see, and maybe I'll just do videos on that day or videos for that day rather than like I don't think I can host another. I wouldn't be the right person to either. But like a Ghostbusters Day, it's the 40th anniversary this year, right? It's coming up on June 8th, right? Terminator, it's the 40th anniversary of Terminator. It's like Terminator Day. There's it was just there's so many of those IPs that you could have a pause to just put a lot of positive stuff on the wall. Eric, what is your because you really do a great job of being positive and really trying to just compartmentalize a lot of the negative. Even when you're on like the aficionado show, you can just see Eric sitting there going, I don't want to participate with this part of the conversation. You guys are on your own. It's okay. It's like, I'm just going to have my coffee and think about bunnies right now. I mean, you can see it in his little eyes. He's Bob Ross on me. I'm loving it. And I get it, dude. I totally get it. So what has it been like? Because you talked about that positivity part. What has it been like for you in the last couple weeks or so, knowing that we're doing Star Wars Day, knowing we're going to have a moment where we can do all this positive stuff? What's that been like for you? And what did you do in particular, or anything that you kind of like fed on, so to speak?
I got into a nice conversation this just past Wednesday at my local comic book shop. I'm blessed and grateful to have a great LCS, and I know the staff pretty well by now. And one of them, she's a younger woman, early 30s. Generation 2 Star Wars fan, huge cosplayer. She's part of my local 501st. She's at all the conventions, but she's a young Star Wars fan, and they don't see the difference that we do. They don't see the sea change. It's all Star Wars to them. Okay. So they, dare I say, their Star Wars is literally more inclusive because they include all of it. It's all Star Wars to them. To us, we have an orthodoxy, and so I can use an allegory, a real life thing, such as traditional spiritual and religious values. There are orthodoxies, and there are like more looser interpretations of the same faith. And dare I say that this is some kind of mythological new, quasi faith. I mean, that this is pop culture. We have this relationship with it, and it is spiritual. So I'm not going to poop on somebody's May the 4th anymore. Just because I'm some grumpy old fan. I don't want to be that. You know who taught me that? Effing Luke Skywalker. I didn't want to grow up to be the lonely old man on the island anymore. I don't want to. That's not my Luke Skywalker. My Luke Skywalker is father to Ben and husband to Mara Jade, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I agree, man. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And by the way, what do you want from a guy who's throwing down bacon like a boss?
Bacon.
Appreciate it, baby. Penny is here. Hey, Penny. Awesome to see you, lady. And Lester's talking about, I got that 4K 77. Yeah, man. I got all that stuff too, and I'm not getting rid of it. Look, I have the box sets. I have like the new movies too. I know. I haven't even watched. Yeah, we'll get Eric showing this on here.
I put up with the aspect ratio being so tiny and cropped, but I have a giant TV, so I don't mind. These are the 2004 DVDs, and on them they have a bonus disc with cutscenes and everything and documentary footage. Yet they also contain the last release of the original trilogy, pre-special edition, and it's worth it to me as a fan because this is what I grew up on, especially Empire Strikes Back, because it just feels normal, typical. It feels like all the beats are in the right place. I mean, they even removed a line of dialogue from this. It was like Luke on Dagobah, and the swamp monster had just spit out R2-D2, and he goes flying. Yep. And then he crashes. Luke attends to him, and he says, "You're lucky that droids don't taste too good." And that gets cut out in '97 and hasn't been in since. And it was Michael from Retro Blasting that pointed that out to me. And in one of his movies, one of his shows, and I'm like, oh my goodness, wow, how did I miss that? Yeah. That was like my favorite line as a kid.
Yeah, Yeah, I love watching the old versions and then going through the eras and showing with the grandkids and stuff like that. So I showed it briefly. I'll before I think we started. I've never got them down for this. I don't think I've ever had them down. So I use them as bookends. They're bookends, so they're on the shelf. The VHS sets. So I have multiple sets. I know Eric asked which ones. I think this is the 92 ones. I think there's different ones. But the 92 ones I love. And AC, you might be able to find these inexpensively or have your sister look for these because the art on these are just incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow.
Each box has its own like artwork and stuff that kind of has that.
I believe those are the 86s. The one behind you, those are the 92s. And
The other ones are the 92s. These are the 92s.
Yeah, because I had the gold copy of that was letterboxed.
Okay, because I have the gold ones too. But they make great bookends, by the way. So for you Star Wars collectors that kind of want to have hardbacks of EU books and things like that, it's a great way to have it on the shelf. It kind of like fits the motif, and it's actually very inexpensive because people don't do the VHS thing. So a lot of people have cleared these out, and you can find the very inexpensive. But it's cool to have the different versions, and the artwork's cool and things like that. So yeah, I never got that down. They're holding up books. What do you want from me, guys? That's holding up books. So that's
great.
Cool. Let's check in on James's work here. He asked for a request, so I think that's what we're getting, James. You want to tell anybody what it is, or we're just going to see it unpack?
Well, let's just say it's going to be a combination of 2 characters.
Perfect.
And then hopefully I can make it work.
I think it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a bit of a tight fit in here, but I'll see what I can do. I'll try my best.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. AC, what has been your thought process on how the Lego community has evolved? Because I didn't know until this year's prep that we didn't have Star Wars Legos at all until Attack of the Clones. I thought they came out during Phantom Menace, but they were not. They came out during Attack of Clones.
Yeah, this year is the 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy. I remember as a kid, I think it was the 15th anniversary or 20th. I remember seeing like the cool box art for it because they always do like a fancy box art. But no, the Lego community, they've been going nuts with some of these sets. Lego is kind of odd. Sometimes they do some amazing sets, but they don't put as much detail into the minifigures. So some of the minifigures will suffer from time to time. But no, they've had some amazing sets. Like I have the Venator, right, from episode 3. That was the big set I bought around Christmas time. It took me like 16 hours to build it. They've been doing really cool. They're called the UCS sets, Ultimate Collector Series. So that's the Venator. So there's like I think there was a Jabba's sail barge as like this massive set. There's some more that are still coming down the pipeline this year because, like I said, it's the 25th anniversary this year.
Wow.
One of the sets I built on stream recently was the Tantive 4 hallway scene from the original Star Wars movie, and that was cool because it has a little bit of functionality to it. So like you can there's some mechanics where if you put a minifigure next to it and you flip a switch, you can like simulate them exploding, like kind of flying out a little bit, as well as a sliding door that shows like the explosion, the initial explosion. So
it's being delivered. Since you're talking Legos, it's being delivered. Look at that. So
yeah, so the helmets, the Lego helmets, that's a big thing.
So look, when you have as many hobbies as we do, it's hard to juggle something different. I haven't been into Legos, so my son, he would just start getting things. So he would just buy things in bulk, and he's like, dude, I have this. The box is kind of beat up. I'm not sure all the parts are there. So yes, he got me a Vader Lego head.
Oh, look at that.
That's awesome.
So it was missing pieces in the back. So I gave him, we did all the color sorting, and we found all the pieces. So he's all intact now, and he will be back here permanently. We'll find a spot for him on the shelves. I'm not sure he'll be visible all the time. Obviously, all the Star Wars stuff will get reshuffled again after today. And Vader's Lego's been repaired. Now we'll work on repairing the AT-AT. Yes, indeed. Do you guys, AC, do you guys call it an AT-AT? Because I know the prequel kids are the ones that kind of want to try to redefine that. And
I've always called it AT-AT.
Yeah,
I
hear that from the prequel kids.
It is a prequel. I outed myself.
It is a prequel thing, and I'll tell you, I'm going to show you why while it uploads. What do you boys think? Is it AT-AT or is it AT-AT?
I've always been AT-AT.
I will also. I not only will I say at, I will double down by comparing to a part of Star Wars mythology that never got fleshed out. The proper terminology for the quad gun was called the ack gun. It was based upon the sound of ack.
It sounds like
Yeah,
Mars attacks.
Look it up, man. RTFM, man. That's golden. That's Star Wars trivia.
AC, you saw it. You will not be shocked that it was Pops that breaks the bubble. Here you go.
It's new AT-AT, the all-terrain armored transport from Kenner. Batteries not included, action figures each sold separately. You can make AT-AT walk. Its legs are big enough to crush obstacles. You can move AT-AT's head and pretend to scan for rebels. AT-AT has a cockpit for Imperial Commander and AT-AT driver and laser machine guns. When you push a button to fire the laser cannons, you activate battle lights and sounds. There's even a troop compartment. New AT-AT from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
AT-AT it is.
Yes!
AT-AT it is.
Take that, prequel kids. Get off of my lawn.
You know what? I love the fact that I was able to just track down some of these old commercials. Like, it's just been so much fun doing that and giving you that feel. Because when you were a kid and you saw that, you were just like, how... yes, it wouldn't take away from the Millennium Falcon love or whatever, but you're still like, how can I get this? How on earth can I possibly negotiate and navigate?
My best
How
friend
much was
had
that going for back in the day?
Like $25 or so.
I was going to say probably around $30, but at that time when the minimum wage is what, like $3.15 to $3.50 probably, so it's the equivalent of like $100. Yeah. So when I got the Millennium Falcon on my 10th birthday, I had met my paternal grandmother for the first time. I'd not met her before, so she gave me a birthday card for every year I'd been alive. So on my first birthday card had $1 in it, my second had $2, so on and so forth. So I ended up like $55, and I was able to buy a Millennium Falcon. And I want to say it's in the neighborhood of like $35 or so. And again, based on the minimum wage, you're looking at the equivalent of like $100 to $150 by today's standards. I assume is a fair. I don't know. I'm sure there's an online thing that tries to tell you how much it was, but it was a big deal to get a Millennium Falcon. And stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that AT-AT toy, that looks sick. I mean, it has so much functionality to it. Like that is awesome. I can see why people were going nuts over it.
It was in scale to the action figures. It had a cockpit built for 2 and a cargo hold where you could also hold your action figures. And it had a working winch. That was cool. Yeah, and the blasters lit up, and so you had a sound button.
Around that same time, did they have snow speeders?
Yes.
As
Oh,
well?
I had a snow speeder. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So you can reenact the Empire then. That's really cool.
Yeah, I had the
battle scene.
I had I had Probot. I had the mini collection that had the shield generator, and that you had a button that had a lever to simulate the shield generator getting blown up, and it had like little die-cast snow troopers, with the big cannon. And it was to reenact just a battle scene. It was like a mini die-cast battle diorama.
So I'm gonna do it. Yeah, it's a Disney thing. It's from one of the Epcot Festival Flowers and Garden thing. I don't know how I got it. It makes it's a great little paperweight. It's not really strong enough for a bookshelf, but it makes a great. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I have no total shame or hate. I just don't want hate or shame from them. So, all right, tons of chat. Holy cow, I got to catch up. I'm way behind on chat. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I got to figure out where I left off. I left off on slobbers. Let's pull it. Yeah, I left off on slobbers. There we go. Bacon. Melvin, hey brother, good to see you, my friend. Thanks. Happy Star Wars Day. Yeah, no, Eric. Okay. I get goose pimples watching this commercial. I know, it's so fun, so much fun. Alex Moore, hey there. How are you? The AA is ACAC. Yeah. So at could be at. Yeah, cool. The lost art. Yeah, marketing and just who your customers are. Like they just knew. Keep throwing it against the wall. Yes, there you go. I like it. Thank you, Copa. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. It's awesome when it was in scale. Yeah, I know. That was the big deal, right? Because toys at that time, it's like 12-inch GI Joe type toys, things like that. So there's no way they could do those things. So going to 3 3/4 was not only for that reason, but also for economics, because the price of plastic and oil stuff was so expensive. It's like, we can actually make this affordable. So Claude is here as well. Missed the. Where'd he go? Well, I see this one. I'll put that one up. Here we go. Yeah, I love the storm speeders. I had one of the storm speeders. I don't remember when I got that one, but I definitely had that. Yeah, it's on fire. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah.
I had
I have my cloud car behind me. It's on the
I
shelf.
was gonna say I had the cloud car pilot, but I didn't have the cloud car, the twin pod cloud car, which was a really cool design. Yeah, I had like two Bespin. Oh, cool!
Well,
I love the Bespin, the design of Bespin, the set design, the costume design. You know, even even before Special Edition, like really opened up the background with windows overlooking Cloud City, which kind of it fits it. But just the pastels and just all those beautiful Ralph McQuarrie paintings. You know what I mean? They're, oh gosh, just what a great backdrop in a scene. We go from a desert planet to a cloud, a city in the clouds. I see city in the clouds. My friends.
And he talked about wanting all different colors, right? So he had all the browns and beiges with the Sand Planet. And so he would talk about how, and then with Hoth, we had the white, and then we had the orange. And so he said, so with Jedi, we needed the green. So I went to a jungle planet. So it was all very strategic, all very smart. He was just different. So yeah, so again, I've looked at trying to replace or try to get the components that are missing. So I'm missing the canopies, obviously. It has little feet. But it is so secure. Like, this is really hard plastic. These are ones that easily could have survived to today, because this is very, very well made. Like, it is just a very well, and just such a fun ship to just fly around with and play with and things like that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, speaking of that specific one, sometime last year I was visiting a recycle shop, James, and I found a original Lego 2002 Cloud twin pod car. It didn't come with the minifigure, but it was like one of the very first Star Wars sets, Lego Star Wars sets. Like, all the pieces were there except for Lobot. It came with Lobot originally, and I was like, well, and it was only about, I don't know, $3-4. So I was like, well, I got to get this. It was pretty cool for a really old Lego set like that.
And I'm trying to Lobot. I'm trying to remember what was in chat too, please. What was the lamest action figure you had? What was your least favorite Star Wars action figure? No, I had Lobot.
Oh,
I had Bib Fortuna. Let's see. I think that might be it. Ugnaught. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So bad.
I had Yoda, but
I actually made good use.
I kind of loved them all.
So I like. So I will say the reason that it seems like it would be lame. But he's great for role play and stuff, for other things, because he's so articulated, and all these do pop out. I don't want to mess with him now.
Yeah.
All these do come out. So he was great. He's sort of lame in comparison to some other stuff, but he was fun to play within your imagination of having cool tech and that kind of thing. So.
I mean, I had Bespin Leia.
That would be considered lame.
Bespin Leia had this the quintessential vinyl cape with the print pattern on it, but at least she came with a blaster.
Yeah. I don't think I have.
I can't really think of one that I didn't like.
There has to be some Bobos in your toy box. The ones that I
have an R5D4. It was pretty lame.
Oh yeah.
It's no paper left. Yeah, R5D4. Yeah, he's got the marble. There you go. All kids, something stupid happened. I have no idea why, but yeah.
Wow, the legend of the marble.
We were very poor, so if we got our hands on anything, I was a happy guy, no matter what.
So James, this is from my boys box, and this would be later. So this would be the 90s on. So he definitely has...
Oh, there it is. That's the one. Yep.
Okay, so this is definitely a different version. So I don't know when these started. So I had that one too.
That's the one I believe that I had. And again,
so he's dated 97, but that doesn't mean he didn't come out sooner when they changed, because they stopped making a lot of the cloth and some of the vinyl. They just changed up some of those designs on some of those. So
I got you. Yeah. That one brings back memories right there. Again, it's been ages since I've even thought about those the toys that I had when I was a kid.
One of my least favorites was probably C-3PO, not because I didn't love C-3PO. he is not a great made figure.
Right.
He was, his legs are not articulated at all. So he was always really hard to get in the speeder and other ships and things like that. So because he's just the way he's made. It was a very difficult angle to get in some of the ships. And with age of all of them, he's got some of the loosest of the joints. Like he's just barely hanging on. You know what I mean? So
yeah, Death Star droid. We had the same thing. And then,
right.
like,
Yeah. I don't think I have that one still.
What is the process to get it shiny like that? Is just the electroplating? What?
You mean to clean them up?
No, to get it that chrome.
Oh, I don't remember what they called it.
You know, there's some because like it flakes off after a while, and then or gets that dull kind of thing to it too.
Yeah, I have not done any cleaning and restoration because I'm afraid of what might happen. So I've got to find someone like Michael to spend some time with on like what would be the appropriate process to do that. So I think we're just going to start maybe with just some generic soap and water and like a Q-tip and just kind of go through each of them and do it that way. We'll go from there. So Gap's talking Sears, talk about old school references.
Oh, yeah.
I remember going to my mom at Sears going to the counter to pick up the action figures from the catalog. I remember cutting out what you do call the proof of purchase, mailing in.
Oh yeah. Gosh, I forgot about that. Proof of purchase.
Yeah, the mail-in.
Yeah, I did that for Cobra Commander and Duke.
Okay, so do you know what we're talking about, AC?
Yeah, back in the day, you're talking about like back when the first action figures came out, right? And they didn't even have them in time, so you had to do the. Oh no, was that to get Boba Fett? The proof of purchase thing as well?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, Boba Fett was the first one for sure.
But I don't know any other ones after that. I just know Boba Fett was like the very first one, I guess, if I remember from last year's stream.
Yeah, I'm looking for that commercial. So you guys keep going. Did you guys ever mail away?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not me. That's
that
yeah,
was
that
our
just shows my.
generation.
Yeah, no offense. This is past my time.
Boba Fett, Duke, and Cobra Commander. I think it was Boba Fett first, Cobra Commander was second, and Duke was third. Yeah, I only got a couple of those, but that was exciting as a kid. The anticipation of the mail. You know.
Oh yes, yeah. Wait for that to come. Yep.
Boba Fett was my favorite action figure, Star Wars action figure, because he was like, you could take him in the tub and he wouldn't drown because he was like suited up. Yeah.
All right. Here you go, memory lane.
From Kenner's Star Wars collection comes the Stormtrooper, the Sand People, and all 20 action figures, including new Hammerhead, Snaggletooth, and more, each sold separately. And now, Boba Fett, Star Wars villain with his laser rifle. Boba Fett is not yet available in stores, but you can get him free with 4 proofs of purchase from any Star Wars action figures. Details on specially marked packs at participating stores. Offer ends May 31st. Star Wars action figures sold separately from Kenner.
Yeah. All right, and then just to complete the circle, Eric, for you, make sure.
Here we go.
That's nice.
Hello, old friend.
Nice.
Very nice. No fabric cape, no moving parts, no shooting backpack. That didn't happen.
There's only 5 or 6 of those, and most of them are at the ranch, the Obi-Wan ranch guy, the collector. He's got at least 2 or 3 of them.
There were doll size versions of some action figures, and his doll size version was amazing. That had had a grapple line, and that had his rifle. It was more detail to that, because it had that was the iconic Boba Fett sawed off. He had a sawed off shotgun.
That's true. It was. So Melvin goes back to answer your question about the lamest figures. Mon Mothma would have been one. I don't remember having a Mon Mothma, but you're right. I don't know why they would sell Mon Mothma. Yeah, I agree.
That was the Powers of the Force collection. That don't count. That was like 86.
R5 has some bad motivators. Yes,
I think one of the biggest disappointments is when you get like a lightsaber toy and it's not actually a lightsaber. You're always waiting for that to happen. You know what I mean? Was I the only one who's like, I can't wait for the real lightsaber to come out? You're hoping beyond a hope when you're a kid a real, a real life one.
We would take
We didn't really
down
ever
all-
have a real lightsaber
Yeah.
during our lifetime, right? Because the
Yeah,
first ones
yeah,
were like
yeah.
flashlights with a little piece of cellophane on it.
Yep.
Then they
Yeah.
had the one with the blow up tube that you would attach to the
Yeah.
flashlight handle.
I had the hard plastic one with the notch at the top of it that
Right.
would make a kind of a whistling sound when you swung it around.
Like a wiffle ball bat, right? It was
Yeah,
made from the
yeah.
wiffle ball bat kind of thing. We
It
whistle
was-
it, yeah.
There was the Return of the Jedi collection. It was a green blade too, which was
All right.
very important for me to have the green blade.
We'll come back
Yeah,
to
so-
Royal's question in a second. Go ahead, AC.
I was gonna say, so that's my generation then, because episode 2, episode 3 was real big when I was a kid. So a lot of kids in my neighborhoods had the collapsible lightsabers, right?
Mhm.
Especially, I remember one kid in particular. He had Darth Maul's lightsaber, but
Mhm.
half of it was broken, so he only had the single sided. And I remember I would use that one because it was the broken one, and then he would have like the nice. I think he probably had Return of the Jedi Luke's saber, and we would just like battle it out with that. So that was cool. But I remember those were dope back in the day. We used to wail on each other with them.
I have a whole closet full of them for my grandkids, but they're just still not into it enough. Like I literally stockpiled them up from what I had for our kids, and then over the years, when I'd find them like on super clearance or whatever, I'd grab a couple extras. I literally have a bag. I probably have about 12 to 15 of them. So it's
So what you're saying is we're gonna go to your house out on the farm, and we're gonna reenact the Geonosian battle arena with all the
AC,
Jedi.
you have an open invitation to find my house. 100%. 100%.
All right.
Pops, you seem to be a lightsaber aficionado.
Well, I'm not, but I was
No?
just for that of those. I would love to have. See, the problem is I never wanted to spend the money, Eric. I love hilts, and I've gone to the places where they make them and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I mean, my question was like, what's your favorite hilt, or who's your favorite lightsaber? And they all have a personality befitting their wielder. You know?
It was, and this. Oh, well, I was going to come back to Nurporial's question, but it will be obvious when I answer this one. It's Luke's green lightsaber is probably my favorite lightsaber. I don't everything about it was that was it for me as a kid.
Mhm.
I didn't think I could ever get over the blue and the red, whatever. And then even with the new ones, the fact that there's a purple one, whatever, that is really cool. Like that's cool,
Right.
But there's something that was always very special about Luke's
Green
the
lightsaber.
green one. Yeah,
I agree that when I was a kid, I lost my mind when I saw the green lightsaber. Yeah.
Sonority says, I suspect the action figure of Anakin after the fight of Mustafar is pretty lame. And he's like, too soon? Good point. I love my Darth Vader case, C-3PO case, full of original figures with their accessories.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yes, that was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Whoa, I did not know that was a thing. Luke Skywalker breathing apparatus accessory was a mail away. I don't remember that. That's fascinating. When was a commercial for that? I'll have to try to find note of it. Gap, try to send me a message if you could remind me to see if I can track down a commercial. So the cape was the first thing you lose or break. So I would say losing weapons because you would if you took them outside in the sand like we did. So I forget the actually address of where I grew up, but it's like 411 Hamlin Road in something, Florida. It's like that people if they sift that sand, Lord knows what kind of Star Wars stuff they're gonna find. Hopefully they didn't bulldoze it because it was probably full of all sorts of Star Wars stuff from back then because that's where it was. So broomsticks is lightsaber. We get in trouble with broomsticks. We would get you could use a stick until you were caught. So it's like tricky trying to find that you were allowed to play lightsabers with. So you wouldn't, because the last thing you want to do was to get the other person hurt, because then you'd all be in trouble. So the green blade is for the Irish Jedi, maybe. Reader sabers, yeah. Okay, so we'll go around and hit this. Nurporio, great question. Favorite. So favorite's tricky because I factor in rewatchability so much, and I have to be an honest player, an honest broker in that. Return of the Jedi would by those definitions be my favorite because I don't think I have a favorite really among the original three. They all fit nice together. I think Empire is probably the best critically acclaimed, better film, but we wouldn't have any of it without New Hope. But I rewatched Jedi the most. I just did Sarlacc Pit. It's the big maturing of Luke. I just really get engaged with some of these emotional beats. I love the Battle of Endor, despite all the Ewoks. I just could care less. I just love the Battle of Endor. It's just so much fun. I love the cutaways with the Battle of Endor to the fight scenes. I think it just for me. I was also 12, and it was like it's that nexus there, right? It's that perfect time when you're like between like 10 and 20. This stuff gets so special to you, and yeah, that's mine. James, what about you, my friend? You got a favorite?
It depends on like the time of my life, I guess. When I was a kid, it was Return of the Jedi. Definitely. Just at the same kind of points that you just brought up right there, especially with Luke. You know that the battle between the standoff between him and his father, and just the music and everything right there. I mean, I always remember getting cold chills, even to this day. I will, but nowadays I would have to say it all depends. I think the original one for me now, that's just the first one, Star Wars: A New Hope. Right?
Mm.
What's the official title?
Star
Well,
Wars.
that's their new
Star Wars,
subtitle,
yeah.
right? Is New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
just called Star Wars
Star
for
Wars, yeah.
years.
Like, I don't know, it's just something about that that just I don't know what it is. It just depends on the time of my life. You know, I've gone through parts where Empire was the one, but I'd have to say right now, probably because now my daughter's, she's been asking as of late, "Hey, Dad, can we watch Star Wars again?" Because we
Mm.
watched it before, and she was, you know, into it somewhat, but she's all about the Leia, the Princess Leia figure, where she's got on her, you know, the Jabba the Hutt slave outfit.
Uh-huh. James,
Slave
have you
Leia.
James, would you think about sharing Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress with her?
Oh, well, when she gets a bit older, I think that's a little too, you know, much for right now.
Okay,
But,
yeah, I guess,
yeah,
yeah.
whenever she
But
gets a
it's
little bit older, definitely.
the that intrinsic story of the princess though, and
I believe what's his face, Literature Devil and Nerdrotic were kind of like going back and forth about how um, Lucas was influenced
Mhm.
or not influenced by the Hidden Fortress.
Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've
Okay,
seen.
so
I think I've seen almost all of Kurosawa's films.
oh, good.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
been a
because I
while though.
believe I believe that it's Hidden Fortress is just it's the
I'm,
cipher for Star Wars.
I'm certain that he cited it as one of the many influences.
Mhm. Oh,
I mean,
it's
Oh yeah,
100%
definitely. Yeah,
certain that he
yeah,
cited it
yeah,
as an
yeah.
so
100%.
evident, especially with the two bumbling thieves.
Yeah.
That is,
That's
you know,
C-3PO and R2-D2,
yeah,
right?
the
You know what? That's what it
general.
was. I know there's an interview where he specifically talks about using the droids based on his inspiration of Hidden Fortress because it was a way of moving the story. Because if you watch,
Yeah,
because that's what these movies were. So he talked about. So I don't know that he would totally agree with a lot of the other influences, but I think he specifically said he purposely made the droids that way based on that.
Mm.
So yeah,
they were the
cool.
storytellers. They were the
Yeah,
narrative, like
yeah. He took us through the
clue.
journey. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were telling the Journal of the Wills. That
Yeah.
was R2's grand design.
AC, favorite one? I know you're up against the clock too. You've got to dip out of here to get ready for your gaming marathon.
Woo!
What favorite film as you head out the door?
That's hard because I would have to choose one from each era, like OT and prequel.
Fair enough.
For me, OT it has to be just Star Wars. I just like I like a lot of the cinematography, especially with the like the opening scene when, or not the opening scene, when the Falcon is going into the hangar of the Death Star, and just like this slow, you know, crawl for it while it lands, and you have like the suspense of the music because you know they're getting
Yeah,
captured, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that just like gives me chills. I like the trench, or like the battle against the Death Star with the trench run and just like seeing all the action
yeah,
there. Um, I don't know, I like Return of the Jedi's Luke, but I also just like the innocence of Luke in the original story, and how he's like
mm,
he's lost everything, and then he's like, well, I got nothing left for me, so I'm gonna go on this adventure and just keep moving forward, you know. And so I appreciate that. But for me, when it comes to prequels, I recently rewatched them, and I think Phantom Menace has become my favorite one, only because I really like the Jedi Qui-Gon, Master Qui-Gon, and I wish we could have gotten more with him. I feel like he would have been an amazing teacher for Anakin.
ah,
So that's yeah.
that's
Eh,
yeah. I mean, exactly. Your focus determines your reality. That is like what's
yes.
the best Qui-Gon. I mean, that is Star Wars distilling like, kind of wisdom and spirituality into a pithy quote in a sci-fi movie. I mean, that's quotable, man. That's a Star
Mhm.
Wars quote.
Another thing that sells me on that first movie is just the locations, like where they're going. Like it's like they're always moving in that movie, and we get to see all this like amazing stuff. And it's something that I liked about the original movie as well. Like there was always like some new things and new environments that they were in. And so, anyways, yeah, prequel, or excuse me, Phantom Menace, and I mean Darth Maul's an amazing villain that they fight in that in the Theed Palace, you know. And anyways, that it was a lot of fun to watch that movie all over again as an older person.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's great. Eric, can you pick one?
I can. Well, I will pick one. Sure. Using your criterion of rewatchable. What is the most rewatched Star Wars movie? Wow, in 40 what years? Almost 50. I gotta say it's Revenge of the Sith.
Wow, good.
I watched the heck out of this movie. Is all my other Star Wars movies. I got these from the Star Wars shelf, which is out in the living room, which does not contain Rise of Skywalker because I gave up. I just like, what's the point? So it's like it will always be an incomplete thing, or the Lucas canon is complete and closed, and I can just enjoy it, And this is part of it. And like, this is a good movie. This is, I can see why, you saying Star Wars 77 is a good movie too, with this, with the music and the tempo, and a lot of that is Marsha Lucas's editing. She made it, she won the Oscar for that. And what a good movie. But this could be my favorite because I just love Palpatine. I love this bad guy. Literature Devil, I think it was maybe said like he's remorseless. He can't be redeemed. He's irredeemable.
Irredeemable. Oh,
he's irredeemable. He's a great bad guy. You know what I mean? Because that's what Star Wars is about. It is a fictional space. It's imaginary. It's mythological. There is absolute good versus an absolute evil. We've got plenty of gray area. It's called in real life. And this is why we have escapism and we go to Star Wars, because we can have that fantasy and of, wow, there are good guys and they are going to win over the bad guys.
Yep.
I really can't agree more about Revenge of the Sith as well, because I remember coming out of the theater on opening night and I looked at my best friend since we were kids, since middle school in particular. We saw it together and we both looked at each other and I says, I just can't believe he pulled it off. He made me believe it. He made me believe that's how Darth Vader become Darth Vader. Like, it felt enough, despite all the nitpicking of the prequels, despite Jar Jar Binks, despite, the romance of Attack of the Clones, whatever the critiques and issues that we could have had. We came out of that after the Battle of Mustafar. We saw the twins. We saw everything play out. We were like, yep, I feel pretty good. And I think that to this day, when I watch it, I still feel kind of the same. What about you guys in chat? You guys got favorites? Like I said, I'm not about trying to parse out the 3 films. I try to do a multiplier then on rewatchability. That's why I factor that in. Like, I take all my 6 films, or, actually, I don't mind watching Rogue One. I don't mind watching somebody. So I'm not going to lie to anybody and say I don't mind sitting and watching Force Awakens with the kids when they want to watch it. No, I'm not watching the other 2. I'm not doing that again. But times rewatchability, like a multiplier, right? So like, I don't have a negative enough grade of any of those that it would matter. So Empire technically is the best, but I can't help it. Return is the best for me. I feel that that's almost exactly what I said, Kobe. Yeah, I think I can critically say my score is Empire's the best. Like, that's the 9.5. That's the 10. That's the one that's right there, right? But New Hope is right there, and Jedi is like right there. But when I rewatch them, I watch Jedi mostly, right? And I'll be honest too, I'm also many times watching them during the off season, not during the month of May, which is Star Wars month now for me, because I do this. So May is now become AC. We talked about this, I think, offline, like, because of all the anniversary of all the movies and George's birthday and whatever, it's like I've become, with May the 5th and May the 4th and Revenge. Fine. It becomes like a month of positivity for me. And I'll watch some of them and just like skip through pieces. I'll watch like 35 to 40 minutes of one of them. Then I'll put in another one. And, and then I'll come back around and watch it in completion and things like that. So, yeah, good stuff. So, thanks, Nerpoyo, for that. Good stuff. Snorty says, favorite is the one that started all, Star Wars. No bloody 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Listen, that's George's thing. I don't think we should, again, hot take. You guys tell me. Hot take. George wanted it to say part 4. Fox says, no bloody hell. No, we can't have people being confused. Like, we're just not doing it. So George was very handcuffed. That's why once these things made, millions upon millions of dollars and he had control, that's why things like this went in. This is George. So careful on hating on it because that was George. That's not like a studio. No, this was so. It's a miracle, a lightning in a bottle, and I'm so thrilled that we can start our day this way. AC, how we doing on time with you, brother?
Yeah, we're good. I got like another 5 minutes. I was gonna chime in and say I actually didn't know that. So you're saying originally he wanted to title it 4. Like you're talking about 77 Star Wars. He wanted it to say
part
like
4, something like episode 4. I don't think he wanted to say New Hope. I think he said he wanted it to be episode 4, and they told him no.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He. So you have to remember AC during the time. Again, I'll go to James first. Sci-fi is kind of a sour note for most people. It's also most ships are all shiny and bright, Flash Gordon type stuff. It's like sci-fi. 2001 is more like intellectual and dramatic and things like that. And Star Wars is like this genre-breaking film, right? Because George is trying to sell it that kids will like it. James, I don't think, like you were saying earlier, I think really hit the nail on the head too. It's like, what else can I get into? Most of those things were inspired by Star Wars. They didn't come before Star Wars, right?
Yes, most of them were inspired by Star Wars. And it almost felt like it was kind of trying to grasp what Star Wars was doing, but it couldn't quite. It didn't have that original feeling to it. You know what I mean? It was almost like a B-rated like a B version of it. And then I was into Star Trek as well, big time. But it was just that's a different genre, and it's not genre, but a different kind of feel in itself as well. That's it didn't have that kind of fantasy element to it. And I think another thing that whenever I was in college, I took a course on medieval literature, and we talked a lot about Viking mythology and Beowulf and all I can't remember all the stories that we talked about, but there were elements that George took from those stories as well that were implemented, and I think that's why Star Wars is so unique. It's just a smorgasbord of just many different kinds of things, and Japanese, like Bushido, the way of the samurai, the way of the warrior. I mean, it's just like a big conglomerate. It's a perfect storm of all of these different themes, and I think that's why it's so unique. And no matter what you do, you're never going to tap into that kind of genre, that kind of feeling, because it's really unique in the way that he was able to balance all those things together. That's just my opinion, though.
100%. Eric, I think for you, you can speak to it as well because we're about the same age, right? I think for me, as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old pops, still wasn't. I mean, I had watched older sci-fi, like I mean, Forbidden Planet's fine, love Lost in Space, love certain things, but it felt
1999.
It just stuff like that felt different. Star Wars is like this line of what came before, what came after. It is such a game changer, and I think that's what's important to talk to folks. And like you said, AC, you didn't really know. I'm like, yeah, he pulled all sorts of boss moves with Fox. They just did not understand George. He was just like, because I think wasn't George's original backstory like 45 pages? Didn't he talk about Vader's story? It was like he had to write this big backstory, and I think it was about. Then I think he's on the record in one of the conversations talking about 20 or 30, 40 or something. Like 45 is the number in my head of pages of notes or whatever. So that's what he went into. So for him, part 4 was part 4 because he had this other thing out there. I don't know. Yeah,
I can always find out one day.
Okay,
I got the Rensler books.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you have the Rensler
I don't have them
books?
anymore. I've let them go to people that will take care of them. No. I've been doing bequeathing. Yeah. So like my Zahn books, I gave them to someone who will take care of them. You know what I mean? Someone I give them to people who will, the Vader Bank went to my son, things like that. So yeah.
These are good books. For anyone out there in chat, there is like this is Jonathan Rensler's definitive documentary style of the Star Wars trilogy. He was there. He did all the notes, all the pictures. He was a historian. He passed away a couple of years back. But these are worth it. You can get them off of Amazon, pretty cheap. I got them like half price each. That's why I finally picked them up. He also did the making of Revenge of the Sith. He was on there. This is the slipcover. That's by my bedside. I'm still reading that, and this is amazing because it's all about the behind the scenes production stuff. acting, like, auditions, everything that came before it, and for men or for humans like Pops and myself of this age, all the photos are just time machines. Like, my parents looked like that, like everything looked like that. We remember the world looking like 1976, like in these photos, and it's a wonderful nostalgic time machine. And so, yeah, for anyone out there, get the Rensler books. This is a good gate to keep. This is a good. You want to be a gatekeeper? You can always say, where'd you get that from? Rensler? You don't know Rensler? Huh?
Rensler? Rensler, go back to your car. You don't know Rensler.
You want to park your car and have a yard? And I know Rensler, okay? Okay, this canon. Okay, they're Disney Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, and I think you can look up AC. You can look up like Lucas interviews and Lucas commentaries, and you can find a lot of those even on YouTube now. And you'll catch pieces of him, talking openly about this. He's a very, very transparent guy, and was kind of on this island for years. Just like, it's not often that we can point a finger at someone who just changed the landscape so radically, so fast. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see.
It was an independent film. That was the big thing of it, was like George Lucas wanted to keep his independent freedom, his freedom to express and to be an artist and not be told by the studio system.
He'd already gone through a little bit. It's all his friends, right? They're all friends, right? So you have to understand they're in that area too, AC. It's like he's running with Coppola and De Palma, and these guys are coming up together, and they're all having studio experiences, right? So Coppola's already broke out with the Godfather fiasco and the meddling and what it took to get the Godfather made. Yeah. He's already done American Graffiti. He's already gone through a little. So he's like, listen, when I do this, this is my thing. So, but AC, he has to head out. Man, I tell you what, guys, get over there, see this guy. AC, give everybody a little rundown of what the schedules kind of look like, so everybody kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, so I appreciate you inviting me on, man, and starting this off over here, especially last year, starting it off last year. So I decided this year I'm gonna stay up all night, which is just daytime for you guys. Stream Star Wars video games. I'm gonna be hitting basically anything that is pre-2013, roughly. And then whatever's going to work, because a lot of these older games don't like to work on the newer computers. So it's going to be starting here in about 18 minutes over on my channel. And then we're going to be running until about 7 p.m. Eastern time or 8 p.m. Eastern time. It really depends on like how long things take. So if you're interested in some classic Star Wars video games, come on over. I got every 2 hours I've got a new guest on. So I got people coming in, hanging out for a couple hours, and then dipping out. And I got somebody new coming on, and we're going to be talking about like their experience with Star Wars video games, or even just their general experience with Star Wars. But we're going to focus on the game that I'll be playing, because every hour to 2 hours is a different game that I'll be playing. So if you're into that, I'll be over there and having fun with that. And please come over and try to keep me awake for the next like 10 hours, I guess, or 8 hours.
Well, I'll be checking in with you, brother. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Have fun doing it. Happy Star Wars Day. Hail to you and all your guests, man. Good day.
Yeah, happy Star Wars Day. See ya.
See you.
The Force will be with you always.
And then, yeah, what a boss move, right? Put in part 4 first, where's the other 3? That's exactly how the studio felt. And yeah, Chad move. Yeah. Yes, Snort, 100%. Lucas, like, I wanted to be worn and lived in. Yeah. So Steven's up. Good morning to you, my friend. Very early there for you. Yes.
And how much of a step society and civilization has taken in 18 years, seeing that everything was shiny, brand new, and the prequels, and that was on purpose too. Like, look, let's like make the past look very golden age, very sleek, very Art Deco. I love the look of Coruscant. I love the look of Naboo, of Theed. Beautiful design on Theed.
Queen ship, that bright silver ship like that. You're like, oh, it's so good. Yes. Low specs. Low specs out there.
Leaving your hand around like you're some kind of Jedi. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only money.
Yes. So Nerporio, it's coming together now. You can start to figure out what we talked about. So we'll see here in a minute. We're gonna make that bigger so everybody can see. Yes, the original Prince of Star Wars, where you can see David Prowse's eyeglasses through the one piece. Yeah, there were some. Yeah, we can see that. So, yeah, Dark Jedi, Dark Force, and Jedi Knights here. Yeah,
ooh, Dark Forces is great. Oh man, that was such a good game.
Project Cambion in the house. May the Force be with you, my friend. May the force be with you. So, but speaking, Deborah's up. All right, man. Hey, great. Good morning. Good morning. So you did a little Watto there. So a little teaser again for later on today. About 1 p.m. will be that sort of like free for all type conversation. I will be premiering my long awaited Watto video. It's a little 1 minute teaser for Watto that Nos has been. So not Nosferatu the vampire who's trolling me regularly about Watto. Because I said at this point Disney should just do like all these rando characters like Ula the Jabba the Palace person and Watto and they
Watto
just
at Junker's Tale.
Yes, just all these crazy things, and he's always held it against me that I said these crazy things. Like, why not at this point?
Watto learns how not to beat his slaves anymore. Watto has there's actually a really macabre kind of modern Marvel Star Wars fate for Watto. He's stuffed hanging in the background of Castle Mustafar, I guess.
Well, I've been rereading the 2015, so it's the very first Disney Star Wars ones, and they're
Jason
not
Aaron, right?
Yeah, some of them were Aaron. They passes the baton because they're also doing the Darth Vader series. They fit together. Kieran Gillen.
Okay, Kieran Gillen. I'm reading a lot of him.
Yeah, so it's between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. It's like the adventures of them.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I don't always love it. I think it reduces the mystique of like what we see in Empire, where it's like the first time Luke versus Vader, or the first, we see. To me, it takes away from Vader because I feel like he'd have a whole lot more opportunities to be like killing these people or getting Luke. But he is like going through this journey. Don't care really for the Emperor treating Vader like he has to earn his place a little bit. It's a little weird. But it's not the worst thing in the world, and you probably can find it cheap. I have like a thing. So yes, this is my request coming to life, and I can't believe how good that is. Holy cow, that's so great, James.
Oh. You're getting the orange of the Bespin freezing chamber coming off of right now. Luke's skin. That's some really great light source, James. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not participating much in the talking, but I'm in the zone. Yeah.
You do it, man. You do it, so. But yes, good morning, Deborah. Great to see you here. Happy Star Wars Day to you. Fan remasters Dark Forces 2, Mystery of the Sith look great. All right, let's bet. Cool. Make sure you do connect with Angry Canadian. There is no harm, no foul. I hope everyone takes this as an opportunity to enjoy more positive content, and we will do more. Hopefully next year you'll have that TV guide that AC made. We'll have now like 6 more contributors of people who will do some positive content next year or something like that. So. Reverend Sully is also going to leave here in a little bit too. He's got another go. He's got to go over there and be the aficionado that he is. So, my friend, before we get too far into this, what are some of the other show and tell things that you might have with arm's reach? Anything else you want to kind of share and show off with everybody? Because folks probably haven't seen those making of Star Wars books. I haven't seen mine. Golly, I haven't had those in a minute.
Oh yeah! Once again, like for anyone out there in TV land, hi and happy Star Wars Day. I'm Reverend Sully of the internet, and I'm a G1 Star Wars fan. I grew up literally knee high to this stuff, and I grew into this like we all did. But these are the J.W. Rinsler books that I got these from Amazon for. They are hardcover and they're heavy. Therefore, they're a little kind of difficult to read. You can't read them in bed at night. Going to, it's not like picking up your old, prequel trilogy novelizations, which is the real way to enjoy that. If you have troubles enjoying the prequels. But these are the Rinsler books, and that they're complete makings of Star Wars. This is not making of Star Wars A New Hope. This is the making of Star Wars, 1977. A New Hope did come later, and it's all scripts and it's shooting schedules, and this is the most definitive behind the scenes look you can get with Star Wars. And these are great coffee table books. Yes, Deborah. Yes. And I've been reading them for a couple of years now, and it's just they're big reads. They take time and your attention, so but totally there are 4 of them all together, and Empire, Jedi. And here's the rub. He was unceremoniously let go by Lucas by LucasArts. Is it Lucasfilms? Whatever it is right now, during Rise of Skywalker, he wasn't allowed to do his usual job of chronicling the Star Wars stuff. He was let go. Yeah. And that was sad. Yeah, because even that, even Rise of Skywalker, the physical media does not have any deleted scenes, or alternate endings, because it's got a few.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the stuff here, short vid showing Jedi Academy, Jedi Access Enhancer getting uploaded.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's great. That's awesome.
I hear DJ Ronnie's playing Squadrons today.
Yeah, there's two full streams today. Let me pull that up.
Teams?
Two. He has two of them. He's doing. One of them's already up. One of them started at 2 a.m. So it kicked off the entire day. 2 a.m. is Squadrons. He did a gameplay there. It premiered in ultra widescreen 2 a.m. And then at 4 p.m. he's doing Rebel flight planning, flight training, harpoons and tow cables. And then 5 p.m. Star Wars chat with David Glenn. Very cool.
What a nice story, and what a great way to start off Star Wars Day, and with feeling blessed and having gratitude for this thing. This, for me personally, I was 4 years old when Star Wars came out. I don't remember seeing it the first time, but it just I did. We all did just watch the hell out of it every time it came to a movie theater. Sometimes someone had those old 16 millimeter spool things, and they would show it. It was had no sound. Do you remember those? That's just they show in your school auditorium.
Oh,
it was
not with Star Wars. So Star Wars was in the theater on and off all the way through 82, right? So
yeah.
That's why I always stand on 82 is the best year in film, because we also had re-releases of Star Wars and Raiders in theaters that year. So I remember seeing it, and I know it's a point of bragging back when we were kids, right? So it's I know I saw it in theaters, the original Star Wars, 6 to 7 times. I think it was 6, and it was not within May of 77. It was over the course of this run where I could get the aunt to take me again, or I could get so and so to take me again, and things like that. So I can close my eyes. I said it the other night, and I said I can close my eyes, and I have very vivid first experience moments of the Jawa scene grabbing R2, Vader emerging. It's I was just thinking about the Death Star trench the Death Star swing with the bridge with Luke and Leia, and things like that. Very specific moments that are just that big a deal. So yeah, very cool. So, and Squeaka's in the house. Happy Star Wars Day to you, lady. Hope you're doing well. Awesome. Far too much unused footage, I'm sure, as always, to fit on discs and a box set of extras. Well, the thing about Star Wars, though, they've had so many versions released. There are so many documentaries and making of, and Behind the Dome, it's this R2D2 thing, and the original making of Star Wars that was on TV and things like that. So there's a ton of stuff to embrace. I think days like today is the day where we should do more of that. Last year, I didn't get to a review, and I still didn't do anything on it. But I watched the David Prowse documentary about him and talking about all that. There's tons of those kinds of things as well, folks. I think that really, really just bring all this stuff to life and kind of give you some more value with it. So, but we have to let Eric go. He's got to head over to the aficionado soon.
Yeah,
it was really good seeing you here, Eric.
Thank you so much. Yeah, go talk about comic books for 2 hours. We're going to be, I guess, ripping up an actual copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 50, and I just paid $9.99 for it. Now I have to set it on fire. I'm kidding. I'm not touching my copy. Didn't get a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 50 for $9.99.
That's insane. Yeah, I've long said I don't get look. I have a hard enough time paying $3 to $5 for some of them, and
man, but it's oversized. It's anthology style, and it's actually not that bad of an issue standalone. I mean, people like to bag on Zeb Wells. I get it, but I didn't mind it. So I'm gonna be there being like,
I hear you.
That's my job, right?
Exactly.
It's a good one.
You're the balance.
Eric, hit me up with your schedule when we could record something. I'd love to have you. Because I'm an Energon nerd. I've become so it's all about Energon. It's all about Conan. It's all about Turtles. For that stuff, it's bringing me that much joy. Where all the other stuff's like this much joy. So
it's a good time to be nostalgic. They're giving us
Thundercats,
some interesting stuff. I'm into Energon too. I'm on vacation right now, so yeah, we'll hook that up.
Yeah,
And
maybe next week
James,
would be great.
as
Early next week
Yep.
would be good.
always, good to hang out with you, brother.
Yes, sir. Same here, man.
And good luck with the project, and to many more projects like that behind.
Oh yeah.
Soon. That's great.
Yep. I'm hoping it all just kind of works out.
Pops, thank you so very much for having me on. Thank you, everyone out there in the chat, and I hope the force is strong here. You know what I mean? And just remember, like the Yoda advices. You know what I mean? Do or do not. There is no try. That is goes a long way. And what's in there? Only what you bring with you. I mean, that is really deep. And just remember and bring with you all of your Star Wars quotes, because they come in very handy. You're
Believe in yourself.
Yes.
Luke says, I don't believe it. He goes, that is why you fail.
That is
yes.
why I
fail. I mean,
yes.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
a
your
good one.
focus determines your reality. You know, and there's always a bigger fish. Those Qui-Gon Jinn quotes are priceless. Thank you so very much, guys. Good to see everyone. And may the force be with you.
And also with you, my friend.
Also with you, yeah.
Squeaka says, watched it in theaters for the 40th birthday. Awesome. That's cool. That's cool. So, yeah, awesome. Good.
Have you gone to the theater lately, Pops? Gone to see anything in the theater?
We didn't go see Phantom Menace on the re-release. I kind of had mixed feelings of going because I wanted to only go if I could go with my son. Kind of the nostalgic feeling with him. I don't think Mrs. Pops cared to go see it again.
Right.
We have seen a couple of things recently. Nothing that's, Fathom Events sends us to these anniversary screenings. I don't know if we have that stuff in Japan or not, but they do these anniversary type re-release things, the 40th anniversary of this. So they do a lot of that kind of stuff here. So they have sent us to a couple of those screenings, which is really cool because earlier this year we got to see like Wizard of Oz in the theater for the first time. I never had seen it in the theater. And
really?
I would say
I would die to see that in the theater.
Yeah, because we've always watched it, of course.
Yeah.
But in the theater, the biggest theatrical experience with Wizard of Oz I can say is once it starts, it's like a blink of an eye. You get so sucked into that film. I didn't realize that as much in the theater versus at home. Like it's probably one of the few movies I can say, because even with Jaws, because I got to take my my oldest daughter to see Jaws in the theater for the first time. She'd never seen it in the theater.
Oh boy!
And watching that through her eyes and how different of an experience it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter, she recently she was scared to watch Wizard of Oz because of the witch, because we watched it before when she was really young, but we watched it again and now she's hooked, and she loves it, and she does a singing course in English because we're trying to make her bilingual, whatever. So she's gonna do Over the Rainbow as her next song that she's going to challenge.
Awesome.
But then she's just the other day randomly like, "Daddy, I want to start watching Star Wars again." It's like, okay.
Warm his heart.
Yeah.
Ego is here, my man Pop, waiting all day. Listen, Ego will be back with me. So I think it is set for 4:30. It's set as a premiere. Check my channel. You can there hang out with Ego. Ego is a bit of a noob when it comes to Star Wars. It was super cool to get his perspective and take on everything. Like someone who's not super into this, and also like kind of like had to kind of like and there's a great quote from Ego about like, well, my dad really liked him. And I loved it because it's so true of where we are on things. And I love being able to capture his story. So that debuts later on today. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Luke's face and that. Yeah, very cool. Very
cool.
Yeah,
I'm really wanting to make this the focal point of it because I kind of want Darth Vader to come afterwards, if you know what I mean. Like, even though it's such a powerful thing, I want your eye to go there first. And then you kind of realize, oh, it's Darth Vader. So I'm keeping Darth Vader really black and white, and then just kind of I'm debating. I might put some color around here, but it all depends on how much time we got left. How are we doing on time?
Squeak is messing with me. I thought she meant she didn't see it until she turned 40. I didn't know she was 40. But anyway, I get what you're saying. Squeak is messing with me. I can't keep up, Squeaka. 4 p.m. Okay. Cool. It's set there as a premiere, so you guys should be able to see it. You could set your alerts. That's the thing about. So again, behind the curtain a little bit on how YouTube works. But when you have memberships and all this stuff, how it works, I can set a video for my members, and then what time it becomes available for everyone as non-members, right? I can set a video for premiere, and you can see it, and you can see your alerts and whatever. I can schedule something, and you can see it and set your alerts or whatever. There's no way for me to set something for my members and then have it premiere for everybody else. So it's just there's little nuances with everything. So the members voted, James. They didn't want to have access to any Star Wars content in advance. So even the pre-recorded interviews that we've got and stuff like that's going to drop today,
Yep.
even the shorts.
Oh,
I had like 3
right.
or 4 Star Wars shorts or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Nope. They didn't want any of that content ahead of time. They voted, and
Oh,
they
there
voted
you
at
go.
least well over half had done that way. So
Well,
yeah.
when they vote, you have to do as they ask.
Give the people what they want. Yes. Corey
Yes.
is here. Happy Star Wars Day. Happy Star Wars Day to you. my
Hey,
friend.
Corey, what's up?
And yes, this is the image that's coming to life now. And yes, you can
Yeah.
really start to feel the Bespin glow
Yeah.
on Luke's face there for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to just darken up things, but I don't want to like make it too muddy. It's just I'm working with these watercolors here, and they're Japanese watercolors, so they got this very kind of organic feel to them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Very cool.
yeah, like we were talking about before, well, hoping that this kind of illustration will lead on to other ones in the future that'll be able to hopefully make their way into. I can't talk too much about it, but
Very
we
cool.
were talking about
Yeah.
it backstage a bit.
Yeah.
would be nice.
So, Steven, James had asked me sort of like a like an ideal, like, I don't want to say
Oh,
what's
yeah,
the
yeah.
word? Commission. Like James had
Yeah.
asked me for one, like, what'll be your thing? And I says, I know this is going to sound crazy. And I sent him over like a sample of one from a trading card. It's kind of like this reflection concept with these cool helmets and things like that with what they're looking at. And I said, this is one of my favorite things. Like this battle is the game changer in the story, in the saga. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of done or whatever. And this is kind of what I asked for. So yeah, it is the Bespin battle. Is what we're looking at here. So for sure.
Yeah. And it's
Cambrians,
just
like
I
watercolors.
just
Cool.
basically took this screenshot and this picture of the helmet, and I've just put that into the eye there, and I've added the lightsaber over here on this side.
Yeah, super cool.
This is fun.
Super cool.
I'm going to put a color around here to kind of bring in this orange, make it pop out a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
because they're in
gonna-
Bespin. I mean, they're in the battle scenes. It's super awesome. So,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I really like this blue back there, but I like this green even better. This bit of this. So I'm going to play around with this background color a bit. So, but feel free to, if there's anything you want to ask or anything you want to talk about, just let me know.
Yeah, we'll
And
keep going. Squeaka is a
yeah.
member now. She's joined a member.
look at
Thank you
that.
so much. Appreciate you, Squeaka. I appreciate your friendship and spending time with you and that kind of thing. Holy cow. She's gifted 5 more for everybody else. Holy
Look
cow.
at that.
That's
How generous.
crazy. I got to open my phone
Kind
and make
of you.
sure I look because StreamYard doesn't always show us that. So I
Yep.
got to make sure I look and see. So let's see. All right. Yeah. So thank you so much, Squeaka. Gifted memberships went to Gap, Morning Haze, Undead Ramen, Jacob Ironside, and Melvin Deeply. Thank you so much, Squeaka.
Ooh,
That is
thank
so
you.
generous of you. And thank you to all of you who are members. It's absolutely awesome.
I can. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
I was just going to say I can kind of like bring in the latest experiences with Comic-Con and stuff, and kind of bring like whatchamacallit, that has some correlations with today. I mean, the last Comic-Con, of course, you always see tons of cosplayers or whatever, and Star Wars is still alive. It's still alive. I've got a couple of commissions to work on. In fact, one of Darth Vader. I think I have either 1 or 2 of Darth Vader I got to work on. But yeah, it's still live over here. We were talking about earlier that they have the Star Wars celebration coming up in Tokyo next April.
Yeah,
So
2025 will be in Tokyo. AC is talking about possibly
Yep.
going. I
Yep,
was sharing my experiences of what it's like at a Star Wars celebration. We can talk about that a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
I was
How-
blown
how-
away, James. I don't
Yeah.
because how many Comic Cons and stuff have you been to?
I've only been to Comic Cons in Japan. I've never
Okay.
been to a Comic Con until Tokyo back 2.5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So if any of you have been to any of the large scale Comic Cons, like I don't want to say about San Diego, but definitely at least like the MegaCon or Atlanta, those kind of big ones, right?
Right.
Where you have just this massive halls, massive schedule of panelists, celebrities, artists, creatives, indies, all that kind of stuff. So Star Wars Celebration is all of that, but as Star Wars. So all of the actors, all the celebrities,
Wow.
all of the panels. The one I was at, they had a normal MegaCon would take up like the first floor of this convention center.
Mhm.
And the Star Wars Celebration that was at that one was on 3 or 4 floors. It took up the whole building. So they had
Wow.
they have a full theater. I think it's on the 3rd or 4th floor, and it played Star Wars content pretty much round the clock. You could just go up there and
Right.
watch stuff. And they premiered, I want to say it was maybe episode 1 of that season's Rebels or something like that. They premiered something in that. There was a special night for that.
Oh,
So
okay. Ooh,
that
that
is
sounds cool.
massive organized thing for the 501st. You know who the 501st
Oh
is,
yes,
right?
they're always at the Comic Cons here too.
Yeah.
They've always got their. But I'm so it's so frustrating because I'm at my booth the whole time. I can't get around to
You
go.
can't go enjoy these things.
I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do it. But I could hear like R2D2. I could hear them like walking around with the, R2D2. I could hear him like spurting off, and I'm like, I want to go over there and see it, but alas, the work
Okay.
calls. Yeah.
The 501st, I was at one, and I
Mhm.
don't even know where that video is. It's one of those things I need to go figure out how to get some of the content off of like old flash drives and things like that to kind of keep pooling things together into a better storage system.
Right.
I got sucked up into like one of these 501st marches at a Star Wars celebration. So there's literally like 200 to 300 of them in Stormtrooper gear. Right. It
Ooh.
was insane. And the
Wow, that's
cosplay is
insane.
off the chain. Like they could be the
Yep.
actor. Like
Yep.
the emperor looks like the emperor, and he had royal
Mhm.
guardsmen. Talk about what you were
Yep.
loving. I'm like, you wouldn't have believed. It was
Yes.
so crazy.
Ah.
Yeah. Face to toe, body paint to pull off some of the Sith
Mhm.
female characters and things like that. It's just crazy. So
We had a really nice Count Dooku. Am I saying that right?
Count Dooku.
Yeah, Dooku. Sorry, Dooku.
Okay,
My bad. I'm not really a big prequel guy.
it's okay. No.
But
So it's Christopher Lee.
no,
Yeah.
yes, we had like a really good cosplay. Like it was a Japanese guy, but it was like spot on. Um,
Wow. Cool.
I know that AC's got pictures of it, and so yeah, he should have shared some of those. That would have been cool to kind of show off to people. Like they had some really good cosplay, some Star Wars cosplaying going on.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Project Cambrium. He's been working on this fan project there. He's very passionate about. It's a spoiler poster rough for his episode 10. Cool. I'll have to check that out, my friend. Busy day for me today, though. I appreciate that. So good. Yeah, envy there for the love of the Japanese Comic Con for sure.
Oh yeah.
And a modern AI Astro Droid R2. Oh, interesting. He's explained his fan story is born out of the originally wanted to join the 501st, but it's cost prohibitive, and the story came out of that. Very cool.
Ah.
I was able to spend some time with the 501st. They did a charity event through my church. I ordered a church
really?
event during one of the anniversary things or something. We used it as sort of a way to get an appeal to young folks. And they brought in like all sorts of things, and they had folks. They asked permission. Like, is it okay if we do some stuff that's not Stormtrooper 2, right? So they had a Vader,
Right.
they had Stormtrooper, but then they brought in like a Tusken Raider and stuff. And they had some
Oh, no
other stuff
way.
too. Yeah, it was really really cool. And of
That
course,
sounds
kids
awesome.
just
Oh,
again,
they must
those
eat
are-
it up. Yeah.
yeah. I got to find those kind of photos and things like that too. So, yeah, good stuff. So, what was one of or have you had a commission or for a Star Wars character like you're kind of like really like something that kind of like puts you back on your heels a little bit, like that's kind of an odd choice character or something?
No, not for Star Wars, but in general, I think the weirdest commission I've ever had was I had a little boy. It was at Osaka Comic Con last year, and he knew all of his like Marvel characters, comic characters, DC. He was like really, really whatchamacallit, like he had the knowledge for proficient about all these characters and everything. And it seemed like the family was kind of a bit, you could tell by the clothes they had on and the apparel that they were well set with their money,
Mhm.
and they were able to spend and splurge a bit. And they asked him, "Well, what character would you like?" And he just kind of sit there and thought about it for a while. And I thought that he might do something Star Wars or whatever because he had been talking about it. And then he just like Everest. Like, "Well, who's Everest? I've never heard of that character before." But he's like, I was like, "Do you mean the mountain?" He's like, "Yes." So I did a picture of
Huh.
Mount Everest.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Hmm.
a very yeah, that was a very weird one, but
Yeah.
fun. Well, I like it. But
Right.
no, for Star Wars, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't had too many Star Wars. I've probably had about 5 or 6 total in all the cons that I've been at.
Hmm.
Um, which I was actually kind of a bit surprised about. I thought that I might get a little bit more, but it seems I always get like a lot of Loki, like a Loki or people who are attending the Comic Con, the guests. I had some Jason Momoas from this time around, a couple of Jason
Okay. Yeah. So
Momoas.
they have stuff
Yep.
that is
Yep.
tied to the guests that are at that con,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
unique guests. Like you had Tom
Which
Hiddleston, so you had a lot of
which
Lokis, Jason
yeah.
Momoa. You have a lot. It makes sense because you can have it done like that. I can have something drawn by you,
Yep.
then I can maybe go have it signed by that celebrity,
And
and then
that
it's like some
happened
sort of
this time around.
eternal thing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
happened
cool.
this time around. It was the first time ever that I had my artwork signed by the actor and actress. So they had the Loki and the female Loki from the TV show.
Mhm.
Both of them were there, and I didn't watch the show or anything. I'm not really into it, but the people that commissioned to me, they commissioned 2 pictures, and one of them was the 2 of them together, and then they sent me a picture afterwards of them uh with the autographs on it. And I was like, "What the
That's
awesome!"
awesome.
It's just that's a really cool feeling to have. But
Gap asks if you've done a Jason Momoa Stargate.
I know I haven't. I
Yeah,
knew that he
Stargate's
was
an
in it.
untapped IP, I think for
It is.
sure.
I've
Yeah.
never but okay, here's the thing that's really crazy. I've got a lot more Doctor Who commissions, and I've seen a lot more Doctor Who fans pop out of the woodwork. But everybody's like sees it like the 10th or the 11th Doctor. They're all um I saw a lot of fans like that in Osaka this time around. Got a couple of Doctor Who commissions. So
Very
that
cool.
was kind of cool. Yeah.
Project Cambrian
Yeah.
is detailing some of the story there for you folks, how that works. So
Yeah.
yeah, lots of love, lots of love. So yeah, so when you were talking about the characters, so I've been
Mhm.
selling the trading cards since the
Right.
get go. Like it was very early in the '90s. I'd already had like a little flea market booth selling comics and cards and things like that. So when the Star
Yep.
Wars the cards broke, I was like flipping cards like crazy. I can
Yeah.
tell you, obviously, the 2 most popular characters of the cards, and really kind
Yep.
of overflows into comics too, because you see the same parallels. Like the Marvel cards, the most popular cards also are usually the popular comics at that time. Well,
Right, right.
so it's always been Boba Fett and Slave Leia. Those are the
Oh,
top 2
yes.
by far. Those are the top 2. Oh, and like by far, like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you took like a regular list of the cards, it would be like their cards are like $5, and
Mhm.
then Vader would be next, and it would usually
Yeah.
be like $3. If that makes sense. So
Yep.
they're so exponentially more popular than the
Yeah.
next character down. So
Uh-huh.
then you end up with like it would be like Vader, and then probably other Leia. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, okay.
other versions of Leia. Depends on the card. Some
Right.
some of her cards are not always flattering, or some of her images are, but like if it's they're like a Topps Finest set,
Mhm. Mhm.
Boba Fett would be off the chart. There is no Slave Leia, but her Leia card would be on equal footing with the Vader card because it's like a flattering Hoth, I think, image.
Oh, okay.
It's a flat, you know what I mean? That kind
Ah,
of
yeah.
thing.
Well,
So
everybody loves
good.
Leia.
Yeah, so those are and those always have been the case, and then it's been sort of then it's like a smattering of what's hot. Like it just depends. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right, right.
each comic or card tends to have like you can see why something's good. So for instance, I think it's one of the Star Wars Galaxy sets. I tried to do a video on this, guys, and I used the binder thinking it would be easier to use the binder, and the pages created a reflection from the camera, so you really can't see anything. So it didn't really work. So I did a video on cards, but it's not going to showcase all these that I have. But there's a Santa Yoda card, and it's
Oh,
based on an actual Christmas card from Lucasfilm back in the
I
day.
know what you're talking about. I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
that image that card has always done exponentially well because it's probably the only sort of reproduction of that. If
Mhm.
you know what I mean, I'm sure it's been made into other merch by now, by Lucasfilm, but back then that was a big deal. And then tons of stuff that would pay homage to stuff we love.
Right.
So like Star Wars magazine was a big deal. Remember how they
Mhm.
used to be those
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wars magazines? So they would
Yep.
be covers of those that are always really popular, things like that. And then you get into sort of like the obscure stuff that doesn't sell at all. Is usually, like I said before, with the figure, like an Ugnaught or something like that. You're like, I don't know what to do. No one wants to say. It's like you must as well use it as a bookmark because no one will want it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's I was actually well, I have I can't well, I can talk about it, but I'm trying to keep it on the down low. I'm working on something that's kind of related to what we're talking about right now. But
yeah.
I've been going back through my cards and looking at what I've collected throughout the years, and it's just it's really crazy, like how the value of those things goes up and down and up and down,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like the stock market, right? You just
Yeah, all
Buy or
collectibles
sell,
tend to
buy or
have
sell.
that,
Yep.
and then if it's some big thing, it can move the floor, so the floor
Mhm.
moves. But even then, like I thought the first appearance of Gambit was sort of like set as a comic book thing, but now
Right.
they've kind of feuded over, well, is it really the annual? Is it this? So it's really caused a lot more volatility.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So it's like little things like that can happen, but that's
mhm.
pretty uncommon because I think it's like you said, the prices will up and down
Yeah.
based on like what's going on in the world. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, right. Because I would assume right now, and I really haven't been focusing on like ramping things up in one way or the other for like the Deadpool Wolverine movie, which is going to be this big thing during the summer. But I would assume there would be some market moving in that direction for like some very specific things. I have a
Right.
lot of inquiries because I have a nice Wolverine hologram from one of those early
Ooh.
Marvel
Yep.
sets,
Yep.
but I've not had anybody pull the figure, pull the finger on that trigger for that card. So I don't know if it's just because you could probably get them. They're not
Right.
like these things are usually not rare. It's about condition, right? 'Cause you're talking
I
about
hear you.
cards that are like
Yep.
30 years old. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Pat S is in the house. He's throwing down the emoji, saying good morning to everybody. Love those emojis. Got to add some more emojis. I don't know. I tend to forget to stay on top of that. Like it has like member thresholds. So when you get to X number of members, you can add emojis. And from what I can tell, they don't ever really take them away. So I always
Mhm.
should take advantage of when I can get extra ones squeezed in there because we have ideas for some. I just forget sometimes. But
I was gonna leave this like just black and white, but I'm just now having a lot of fun adding color in here to this mask.
well, I'm also loving the fact that you've got just some orange in the back, but it didn't
Yes.
overtake everything. So
Yep.
you have a nice
Yep.
contrast there, and I'm sure that it's
Right.
going to continue to flush us. But I feel it, man. This
And
is what I thought out in my head. This was like that. What size is this? Is that an 8 by
this
11?
is my hand.
Okay, okay.
So this is almost like it's close to a square like format. Um, let's see. I work at centimeters over here, so let me see if they have it in inches. No, they don't. But I do.
Well,
Oh
your hand
boy.
is a pretty good indicator. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
figure
yeah,
that out. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So it's two hands worth, a little bit more than two
Yeah,
hands worth. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a nice size to work with. I think I'm almost done with this, to be honest. If I start working too much into it, well, the good thing is right now I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just painting away, not even thinking about it, just talking to you. And this is so fun, just talking about Star Wars stuff, man.
I'm shocked that we were able to get it done so fast. I was worried that with only 2 hour window that wouldn't be able to get this far along. It's just so beautiful. And again, guys, if you didn't hear, he kind of asked if I had sort of an image or a commission idea or something like that and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this would be the one. And like, it's come to life. It just really has. I love that, trying to capture moments. And
Yes.
that's why I've always loved trading cards because there's so many opportunities with
Mhm.
trading cards. Actually, we grew up on that because with the cards, if you remember, on the card and then the picture on the back, it told you the
Yep.
next card. It just
Mhm.
replayed the movie for
Yes.
you.
Yeah, it have the story, it would narrate you through it, wouldn't it? I
Yeah.
forgot about that. That was really cool. And I know I have some of those Star Wars cards around here somewhere.
All my
Uh,
well, I shouldn't say all my originals because I have new originals now, but the originals all went to my younger of my two sons.
mhm.
So, then I have some originals sort of out there. I know I've sold, have some for sale from time to time, especially if we break open a pack, which I can't really afford to do anymore. I'm down to like my last 4 or 5 original wax pack of. I
Oh, I
think I only
can't
have
believe you
Return of the
still have them
Jedi.
intact.
I have 4
I
or 5 original Return of the Jedis left.
I
Have
don't
you
know
not
how you
ever
could do that.
have you not seen the Padawan challenge? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I yes, I remember that now.
Okay, yeah. So he
Yes.
got a Return of the Jedi pack, and that's what that gum is from. For those of you who did not see that, here's the Padawan. He got a. So the story is he'd won a contest. He got a Return of the Jedi pack. He asked if he could come on my show and open it. So we just thought he was going to open it, and out of the blue, we got a surprise, and hence Padawan Challenge was born. Okay.
Okay. So I stacked all the pieces here. We're gonna.
Oh, he went for the hardcore. I wish I could see Loki's face.
Wow.
Padawan is the boss.
You're the boss, brother.
You're the boss. We're clipping this. This will be a new clip.
It's like Dusty Pop Rocks with no pop.
Pop Rocks with no pop. So
that was a great segue there.
Yeah. So at this point, none of us wanted to do it, and then it become like the Padawannabe challenge, whether or not you would do it or not. I'll take away from James for just a quick second because I got it down because I got those VHSs I showed earlier in the show. This is just a so I got a reader copy of A New Hope. It's just obviously it's just some other version. It's not obviously it's older, but it's not like an original or anything like that. I only wanted to show it because Little Pops literally leveled up his vocabulary because of this book. I had the little gray paperback novelization. And I would read this and drive my family crazy. I learned how to read out of a comic book anyway.
Right.
And I'd be reading, what is this? What does this mean? What does this mean? What is this word? And that was how I learned how to use a dictionary.
Yep.
So Star Wars is by far part of my early education, like by far. And I didn't really care to read. I wasn't really much of a reader, but when it came to this, obviously I tore that little book up. This actually is older than I thought it was. It's actually from 95.
That makes complete sense, though. Like that's what I'm trying to do with my daughter with Harry Potter right now because she likes the movies. I'm like, let me read the book to you, or we could try to read it together. It's a bit of a challenge, but she loves reading books. So I'm thinking, how can I kill two birds with one stone? Introduce and really get her into the world, and work on her reading skills as well at the same time. Two birds, one stone.
Low Spec says that some of us can translate centimeters to inches. Yeah, 2.54. It's an easy thing to remember, James, is 5 centimeters is about 2 inches.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Looks great. Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Feel the art before feel.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of dabbing around with it now. I might call it call it quits here soon with it.
Yeah, the Star Wars influence is beyond belief. Yeah, last year I talked a lot about that for sure. Tim Hayes is here. Hey, brother, good to see you.
Hey, what's up, Tim Hayes? It's been a while.
Yeah, last year I talked a lot about how Marvel was basically saved by Star Wars because they were nearing bankruptcy at that time, and they didn't even want to do the licensing for it, and Roy Thomas got it done. And of course, that because there was no Star Wars, right? Once they was out there, those comic books were like gold. We bought the giant. I still have my giant one, James, but I don't have it out. When I redid the room, I didn't think this through. So 2 or 3 things got put in like a secured box. You know what I mean? It's like it's not an easy thing to get out.
Yeah,
I've got to figure out how to get it out and then leave it, take a picture or something.
Yeah. I've got the secure box underneath here, and it's like to pull that out and to get anything out of it, it's a chore. So I guess it's a good thing I did like that. But I hear you there.
What else is going on for you? I know we have like 10 minutes, just under 10 minutes left here. What else is going on for you the rest of the week or month and that kind of stuff? What's going on?
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll tell everybody about it.
Uh-oh. The big news.
I can't show any images, but this is exclusive to the Pops channel. Since you've invited on me, I'll break out the news here. I've gotten a gig with Cryptozoic. Sorry, let me get the name right. I might because it's kind of late and I'm. Hold on one second. I can't show the images, but I can Cryptozoic cards, trading cards. I got a gig with them doing Batman Dark Knight's Metal sketch cards. So I've been working on those since May, since Osaka Comic Con finished. I found out that I got the gig like literally a week before Osaka Comic Con. They delivered the cards to me a day before I left. So I wasn't able to work on them until I started working on them until I got back. And I had the option of doing either 35 cards, 70 cards, or 105 cards. And I was like, 70, because I'm crazy.
Wow, that is a lot.
So since I've been back, it's just like I've been trying to pace myself every day, get a certain amount done. So I've been working on those. That's why I said it on Twitter. I've been kind of silent because I just haven't had time to do anything but this. So yeah, working on those right now, having a lot of fun with those. And that's what I'm trying to do now is get from this experience and use that as a springboard to do Topps Star Wars. That's my next goal, to do Star Wars cards for sketch cards for Topps. So
all right, I'm pretty sure this is what he's talking about, folks. And this is not breaking any rules. I know what the
No,
rules.
as long as I'm not showing my artwork.
No, I know what the rules would be.
Yeah.
So I'm 99% sure. I've been doing press work for so long. I know this is.
Yes.
So here you go, folks. This is the you can pre-order them now. This is the Cryptozoic Dark Knights Metal.
Yeah.
It's set for dropping in Q3. Iconic Batman comic book series, trading cards, blah, blah. Check out this.
Yes.
Here.
So
and here's some of the details. And then here it talks about hand-drawn sketch cards by talented artists. So now we can say we know one of them.
Yep.
So here's some samples of the art. Here's some of the art that we know we can look forward to. And in addition to all that will be some of the sketch cards.
Right. And so yeah, I've been a lot of these characters I didn't even know about a lot of this universe. I'd seen the joke, the Batman Who Laughs all over the place is such a huge character. So I've been doing a bunch of research, going through and finding out about all these characters and everything. It's just been real fun, you know. And it's gotten me. I went through and read through a whole bunch of the comic books, and just having a good time with it now. And yeah, so hopefully this will be lead from here to something else. And I've contacted Upper Deck as well and gotten really good feedback from them. They've sent my stuff out to the art department, so we'll see.
That's great news.
Yeah, and I told my customers from Osaka Comic Con, I had to apologize to them. I said for the people who were paid for commissions, but I had to send it to them on delivery. I had to tell them, like, hey, look, I just got a job that goes through like a card company that works with DC, and the deadline's May 31st. So I have to get that done first when I get back. And then after that, I'll start working everybody's commissions. So that's what I've got lined up here for the next month or 2 months ahead of me. I've got about 30 commissions I got to work on after this is done. So, but I had to be here today. I decided I wouldn't miss out this opportunity.
It's so much fun to do this, isn't it?
It's been really refreshing to do this too, because it's completely different than what I'm working on right now. So awesome. I'm hoping to bring this energy into the remaining. I've got 16 more cards to do, so I'm hoping to bring this energy over there into to that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, the playlist is in the description. Obviously, JINJA stuff's in the description. I will make sure I get back to those. I got to make sure I edit all those, make sure I keep those up to date too, because it's been such a challenge to try to do this many videos and shows and stuff in such a short amount of time. But coming up next at 10 o'clock on my channel, you'll see the premiere of my conversation with Baron Norman Tagg. And calls himself it's kind of a reluctant fan story. Like, it's interesting, his journey to being this uber fan who still has all of this stuff from his childhood and then he's collected over the years and that kind of thing. And then throughout the day, 1 p.m. Eastern time, back here again for a great conversation. A Comet Idiot. Matt will be my co-host for that. We'll talk about a few things, and then we'll kind of usually open up the mic for that. We usually allow people to come in on their own, do some show and tell, share stories, those kinds of things. And then, of course, at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time will be the last stream of the night for me. We'll be talking about Phantom Menace, the 25th anniversary. Arwen Avalon, Darth Arlena, Daryl the Derelict, and Magitech Mags will be here. We'll be doing all that. And there's other stuff along the way, guys. Little video here, little video there, that kind of thing. So make sure you're tuned into all that. But thanks to JINJA, thanks to Eric O'Sullivan, thanks to Angry Canadian who's doing this on his own. Look at the details on this. Holy cow, James.
Yeah, that was a really thank you for the challenge, man. That was a fun one to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, that is super cool. That is super cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to let you guys go out with some fun stuff as well. Make sure you guys get out there. Have a good day. May the force be with you all. And we'll talk to you soon.
Now, it's here. The excitement, the adventure of a new force at breakfast.
We'll call them C-3POs.
New C-3PO cereal from Kellogg's. Twinlings, phase together. For 2 crunches in every 00. A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. Now you can experience the taste of Kellogg's C-3POs. A crunchy new force at breakfast.
May the force be with you.
TIE Fighter attack! Sound battle alert!
It's Millennium Falcon. You have to put it together. And an Imperial TIE Fighter. Batteries for each not included.
Fire laser! Secure the ship. Let's get out of here.
Ships and Han Solo action figure all sold separately.
He's on my tail. Hang on. Uh-oh. He hit an asteroid. Stop. Yeah.
Imperial TIE Fighter, Millennium Falcon, and action figure all sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.